county residents to be housed in our facility. And I'm currently housing, actually, we just got a Grundy County resident since our last conversation. So the potential is there for us to house other counties and possibly bring in additional revenue. I know that isn't something that we could rely on, but that is a potential for us to do. So, and then there would also be additional costs if we housed elsewhere, probably for Zoom hearings, medical costs, and medication if our youth would be housed there as well. And I believe that's it. I tried to make it as short as possible. So is there any questions? I'm sure there will be.
Yeah, here's a couple of things. The
Sure.
first thing is,
Hold on, Steve, I'll get you. Yeah. You're on.
first thing is, you said 250, and when you had your original thing, it's 150 to 250, so all your estimates are on a high level.
Yes.
So, that's problematic to me. But, even if it's a little bit close, we're still better off having our own, which brings me to the other point. When I used to work at the jail, our inmate population was between 900 and 1,000 every day, sometimes over 1,000, well over. Now we're down probably to somewhere around 400 or 500 people at the very most. I don't know the number, but I know it's really low, 400 to 500. At one point, we were at 1,000. The jail at the Will County Jail is built and able to handle over 1,000 people. We're talking about 20 people. Why can't we just go to the Will County? Why don't you give us a cost of going to the Will County Jail and just taking a pod and using that for 20 people? I think it might be really cost effective, where you're not eliminating River Valley, you're just calling it a different name. You're calling it the Will County Jail.
And I could speak to that. Yeah, absolutely. That, using existing space to run it would be cost effective. However, if we were to go back in history, we did occupy the detention center at one point occupied BPOD temporarily, and was allowed to operate independently, walled off, separately, using the same services, whether it was kitchen or medical services. But it had to be sight and sound separate under a variance allotted by the state, as long as we were building a standalone facility. So the state does not allow for buildings to be attached, or juvenile detention centers to be attached to adult detention centers.
When you said that, that means that we have to look at what would it actually cost us if we had the law changed. We have a lobbyist and we can go to the state and have it changed. Now, it's not like we don't have any state reps and state senators that would understand the difference. Why would we have to pay rent to ourselves? You're saying because of state law, it has to be separated. Well, we get the law changed. And then what happens? That doesn't seem like it's too hard to change that law, because it would benefit us. I think I can get most of the people that I know in the state reps and senators to go along with it. I know for sure I can get Democrats and Republicans. So why don't you come back with something that includes the actual cost of not renting, just having them in the jail? And then we can look at both things, and maybe we renew this thing for a year and give us time to get the law changed. I'm just throwing that out. You guys are here,
Certainly.
you're trying to sell us on buying, going with keeping the thing. That's why your estimates are all high. And I don't have a problem with that, but I do have a problem by not including the jail.
And I have no issue with that. I guess if we were to use, so I guess the question would come in, would we be still using the same staff that we are using now? So those staff are reimbursed from.
Yeah. Shouldn't turn it off.
You did it.
Yeah, well, you could use the same staff when I was there, and I was there for about 8.5 years. And when I was there, Sherry was she was there way longer than me, but sometimes the inmate population goes down, sometimes it goes up. But even 50 more people wouldn't make a difference. They could cook 50 more meals with no problem. I was head cook for a while. And when we cooked it, we cooked stuff and we put it in there's ways to make it so that the stuff is, kills all the germs and all this other stuff. But anyway, when we cooked it, we were cooking 3 and 4 meals ahead of time, all the time. Because you couldn't take a chance of not having the food. You had to count the calories, just like you guys got to count. You got to count all the nutrients. Everything's got to be accounted. 50 people is nothing. And a lot of the people that worked there were there when I was there yet. You know,
Well, so what we need is an analysis, Steve. We were asking for an analysis of how much space do we have in the existing jail? Can we combine them? And then they have to deal with state law and stuff of that nature. So
well,
maybe you
we
could look
do
into that and bring that back to us.
Yeah, I could.
Or is it possible?
Bear with me. I'm not really, I don't understand where the cost savings would come in. Because we're not renting the current space at River Valley. We would just simply be moving operations and consolidating to the sheriff's department, but
I'm
Keep
sorry.
shutting that thing off. We're gonna start charging.
If you have an existing building and you eliminate River Valley, that's a big giant building with a lot of costs associated with it. To maintain it, we just had a facilities person come in here. All right, well, if you get rid of River Valley, we could sell it, sell the land, make a ton of money off of it. They're building houses over there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we could do. Put them all in the same place. You save money. I mean, we can go on and on about this, but
yeah,
what Dave said is what we need. We need to have something to say, give us a idea what it would cost if we just went to the jail and we used everything the same. We didn't pay any rent. We used the same cooks to cook 50 more meals. And you're saying the maximum would be 30 right now, basically. I'm using round numbers, so I'll say maximum's 50.
okay. I'm
And
gonna.
they have psychologists, they have doctors, they have dentists, they have
We
everything
have a
in the jail.
duplication of sources here.
Pardon me?
We have a duplication of resources. If we
Right.
combine it,
So
it
you
would
save all
eliminate
that.
some.
I would just say we would need to enlist the aid of facilities because our predictive costs were simply our operational costs. They had nothing to do with the long-term, short-term maintenance of the detention centers.
I get that, and your operational costs would go down drastically at the jail. Drastically, because you'd be using the same doctors and the same beds, everything the same. So that you're talking about a tiny number. So the cost would definitely go down, without a doubt.
Okay. Yeah, so, yeah. Can you bring something back to us on that? I mean, the state law is one thing that's very important. Can you combine it? That's the important factor. And then how much room do we have? So. Any other questions or comments?
Sure.
I gotta find you here, Joe.
No, I'm on.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're on. Okay.
Thank you. Steve, I don't believe that's a terrible idea, but we do know if the conversation and the idea just started today here, we're probably 3 years away from that, when we want to deal with the changing of the law. So I think at this point, I don't necessarily see the point of them bringing that kind of information back next month. I think it's way premature, but the idea and the talking points we could probably reach out to the state of Illinois. But that being said, I guess just quickly looking over at these numbers, I do know we did have a leadership meeting about the condition of the juvenile center, and there does need to be some upgrades. Is it in your opinion that this county uses funding to use the upgrades at the juvenile center and continue to operate versus sending our residents somewhere else? In your guys' professional opinion, I
If
guess.
the comparison is explicitly between maintaining our kids in River Valley and sending them to other counties,
Mhm.
absolutely. I see it as it's cost effective to maintain our kids where they are.
That's the answer. That's the answer I kind of wanted to move forward.
When I was saying what I was saying, I think that we would just move forward with what we have.
Right.
Even if it costs us more money. But if we're idiots, if we don't wanna, go explore the idea. And I don't, like I said, to get state law changed, let's say it takes, a year, probably take less. But let's say it takes a year, you still have to make all the arrangements to close that one down and move everything to the, actual jail. And that takes time. So what you said, 2, 3 years out, yeah, that's about it. But if we don't start somewhere and say, all right, let's find out if we can, what will it cost us? Is it worthwhile to do this? What will be the cost savings? Because there'll be a savings, a big savings. What will be the savings? And then we move forward with our legislative committee to get the law changed. And that could take a month, it could take 5 years, I don't know, but we just move forward based on information that is a viable operation. And they can't do this in 1 month. It might take 3 months for them to get all the information together. I don't know. I'm not in their
Okay,
position.
well, we can start looking at it and,
We, will-
Go from
and
there.
we will, we actually have a meeting on Monday with one of the oversight agencies, that, the Illinois Department of Juvenile Justice, I don't even know what his title is. He oversees the standards compliance for the Illinois Department of Juvenile Justice. And we'll present the concept to see what that would look like if we were to.
what roadblocks
recognizing-
there is,
Yeah,
if there is. any.
recognizing there,
Yes.
you know,
There's
with
probably,
regard
there's
to
more than
safety.
likely some there. You have to have that separation with the age.
Right, and separation of services, and so I would certainly bring that up and see just to start that gauge. And then there are two main agencies that govern our, have oversight, and we'll engage them, the other agency as well as in discussion. That's the funding agency, the AO, so we want to make sure we stay in good graces with them to the tune of 3.3
Okay.
million. So,
Thank you, Chris. Shannon?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other new business?
Yes, sir.